Public dissatisfaction is mounting in Indonesia as students gather across the country to rally against the current Prabowo administration and its policies. It's the latest in a string of protests this week that have been dubbed Indonesia Gelap or Dark Indonesia. For more on this, CNA's Saifulbahri Ismail joins us live from Jakarta. Saiful, protests, they have been taking place for days now. What are the students asking for in their demands to the Prabowo administration?
Well, Wei Su, the students have made a number of demands. They are protesting against Mr. Prabowo's new budget cuts, including to the education sector to fund his priority programs, including the Free Meal Initiative. Now, last month, Mr. Prabowo issued a presidential instruction calling for more than $18 billion in cuts to state spending this year. More recently, Mr. Prabowo said he was eyeing even more savings, over $45 billion through multiple phases of fiscal consolidation. Now, the students are demanding transparency and accountability in the free meal program. The program was launched on 6 January with the aim to distribute meals to more than 80 million students and other vulnerable groups, but the program has encountered problems since its launch. Several protesters cited concerns over food safety as one of the reasons for rejecting the free meal program following multiple incidents of food poisoning. Now, the government has assured the student protesters that the budget cuts would not impact the education sector, including scholarships. Instead, the policy aims to cut unproductive spending, such as ceremonial events. The public was also urged to give Mr. Prabowo's new administration a chance, noting that it would continuously look for solutions to address the challenges facing the nation. However, this plea fell on deaf ears among student protesters who remain unconvinced by the administration's promises.
Oh, not just students who are unconvinced. Saiful, Mr. Prabowo's own government, there's internal discontent as well.
That's right. Mr. Prabowo's austerity measures are affecting how his own government is operating. For example, one particular ministry had taken to switching off elevator power after hours to conserve electricity, forcing late working staff to take the stairs. Now, even though there are discontentment within the government, public servants are unlikely to take to the streets. The street demonstrations that we are witnessing now among the students are the first major protests facing Mr. Prabowo just over 3 months after taking office. This week's protests are also the fastest that any president has faced since taking office. An editorial in Jakarta Post today said that these protests should serve as a wake-up call for Mr. Prabowo's administration. The paper said barely 4 months into office, Mr. Prabowo was forced into his first cabinet reshuffle. On Wednesday, Mr. Prabowo replaced his higher education, science and technology minister, who had landed in hot water due to a series of controversial policies. Now, observers said the cabinet reshuffle signals an acknowledgement of policy miscalculations. Others perceive the reshuffle as an attempt to appease the student protesters and to find someone to blame to address the fallout from gaffes and budget cuts. Now, the public discontent follows Mr. Prabowo's impressive 80% approval rating in January within his first 100 days in office. Political analysts said Mr. Prabowo's administration should not be lulled into complacency by an inflated approval rating. This is because the reality on the ground could be far less reassuring.
Namun hal ini kan harus kita sampaikan ke publik bahwasanya tingkat kepuasan kepada Presiden Prabowo itu masih di bawah 50%. Kalau tingkat kepuasan itu 80%, mungkin kami orang ini tidak turun di jalan. Mungkin kemarahan publik di desa-desa tidak turun ke jalan. Ini buktinya sampai detik ini masyarakat masih turun ke jalan, masih menyuarakan untuk perbaikan Indonesia yang lebih baik.